So I'm Jeff, and
I'm Michelle.
And this is our story about our daughter, Goldie Norgren, and our experience with BC Women's Hospital.
Yeah. So it started a long time ago. I guess the birth of our first child, Francie Norgren, was born at BC Women's Children's Hospital 4 years ago. She came early. We had a great experience. We spent 2 weeks at the NICU. Rabbit. She went home, just little and mighty. When we were ready to have our second child, we went through some struggles. We ended up having 5 pregnancy losses. We never knew why we were having losses, and it was really challenging. And then I was diagnosed celiac, and shortly later, I was pregnant with Goldie.
What once you were now eating a gluten-free diet?
Yeah. Which was pretty wild, but super nervous after all the losses, and at about 6 weeks started to have some spotting, again called the early pregnancy program, and they saw me, and I had a subchronic hematoma, and so we were keeping a close eye on that, but then it went away at about 16 weeks, and we were in the clear. We were having a healthy pregnancy and everything was going well up until 33 weeks.
Yeah, which is when Goldie was born, and she was born at Surrey Memorial Hospital. We went in, it was a similar story to what happened with our first daughter, Frankie. Right before bed, Michelle said to me, I haven't felt the baby move much. We didn't know the gender at that time, and so went to sleep, woke up, same story in the morning, so we decided to go to Surrey Memorial Hospital. And they hooked Michelle up to monitor the heart rate. And then maybe 90 minutes later, they said that they're going to take her out at 33 weeks, which was intense, super intense. We were convinced we were having a boy, and we were going to name him Otis if he was a boy. So we played Otis Redding during the delivery of Goldie. And she came out. I saw her. They said, what do you see, Dad, gender-wise? It was a girl. It was very nice. The doctors took her right away, and I cut the umbilical cord. Everything was going smooth. They said that she looks lovely. Then we spent 3 weeks in the NICU at BC Children's. At Surrey Memorial.
And through that, she had multiple seizures, trouble breathing, had some...
She was on a breathing tube.
Breathing tube. They consulted a lot with BC Women's neurology team, and at some point they said, it would probably make sense for you to be transferred over there. We just kept hoping she would get magically better and we would go home, but the time would kind of come that Surrey could do no more for us, and recommended we go to BC Women's,
where there's a lot more specialists. There's more access to just people that specify in more specific things.
Wow, we'll be cutting that one out.
Yeah, we will.
Where all the specialists are and all the experts. We've heard some of the best doctors in the world who specialize there, and we would say that based on our experience, we would agree. We spent 3.5 months approximately at BC Women's because she came home just over 4 months old. She's making some noise in the background here, rolling around on the ground. But we had a long haul. I think she was like 125 days by the time
at BC Women's.
By the time we were ready to go. And our experience there was a series of ups and downs. She didn't have a seizure once we got there, which was exciting. But there was a lot of other things that took place. She had a G-tube surgery. She had literally every X-ray and scan and MRI and every expert in the room.
She had another breathing tube. She was on a CPAP machine again.
Airway.
It was like going, 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, and sometimes even 5 steps back. It got scary there. But one thing about BC Women's and BC Children's is they do a great job of keeping it light. They keep the vibe in there light, and it's a horrible place to be. You don't want to be there. yet somehow they make it seem that it's not. But it's hard. It was hard going there every day and seeing these parents pushing their kid in a wheelchair that had cancer, or just something was up with their kids. And you can see that they're putting on this smile or just putting on this like brave face, but you could see it. And it really grinded you down.
Mm-hmm. And I think the big thing for us was like the nursing team was incredible. I'm like tearing up thinking about like how many times we had like hugs and cries with the teams, and the specialists like PT and OT who got to know, Goldie quite well over those months that she was there and see the progress was pretty incredible. There were so many people championing her and us as parents, because it's hard not to place blame on yourself at some point when your child's in this position. Like, what did I do wrong? How did my body fail? This, perfect little girl to have to go through so much pain so early in her life. But she continued to thrive there, and we just felt like we had all these cheerleaders with us along the way. And the last couple of days there, I was like so emotional, not about taking her home, but about like leaving these people that essentially became our family.
Mm-hmm.
Over those 4 months through some of the hardest moments in our lives. They were there supporting us and taking care of our child when we couldn't, which is a pretty amazing thing, like really like angels. Who were there.
It does suck to leave them, because you really build these relationships with these people, intimate relationships as well. They're in your space, in the room with you all the time. So with BC Women's, we can't say enough great things. This is our second time around being there, and both times we were sad to leave for those reasons. We really want to shout out our favorite nurse, Rosemary. She wasn't our nurse this time around because she was in a different pod, but she is just the best. We just love her, and we're so glad that we got to go back because we got to see her again and hang out with her.
Mm-hmm. She continued to come and visit Goldie, even though she heard it. I think something else that really inspired us and something that came from the community, our community specifically, was what community would help you. They saw us struggling. We have, 4-year-old at home. We have 2 dogs. We moved. Well, we were at BC Children's, and we were commuting. I was commuting every day from Langley, which is really far. We were on a wait list for the Ronald McDonald House for 4 months. Unfortunately, we never got in, but an hour each way, or an hour and a half, so 2 hours sometimes with traffic can really drain you, especially when you're emotionally exhausted. But our community, there's a lot of Uber Eats, etc. But that people said to us. But one thing we decided to do is we wanted to support BC Women's, because we felt like the organization, the team there, just like kept our daughter alive and kept us hopeful. So our daughter Frankie and her cousin and Goldie's cousin Finley decided to have a lemonade stand on Canada Day weekend, and all proceeds went to BC Women's. Mm-hmm. And the community came out in drones to support, and because it was a long weekend, a lot of people were like, we want to donate, but we're out of town. And so we set up one of the BC Women's Foundation plaques for Goldie, and we raised over $1,200 in $1,200, yeah, in a weekend on lemonade, some really expensive lemonade for really generous people to support BC Women's, because for us it's the least we could do, given all the amazing support we had from all of you there. So we wanted to thank you from the bottom of our heart. And now our daughter is beeping, so we'll cut that short.
It wasn't easy on our other daughter for us to be away. There was, several nights a week that either Michelle and I were at the hospital. It wasn't easy for her, and you could tell. But now we're all back together again, and she's honestly happier than I've ever seen her be.
She's such a proud big sister.
She is. We have a medical binder, a thick medical binder for Goldie, and Frankie goes through it to learn. She can't read, but she'll match up the pictures to the medical equipment that we have, which is cute. But now Goldie's home. She's been home for about 2.5 weeks, and she's thriving. She's completely thriving. She looks good. She seems happy. our family's happy to be together. I'm gonna go get her. Here. Here's Gigi.
Here she is.
She's happy.
We're happy.
Sometimes.
We're still waiting on her smile, but we're sure it'll come. And it's really it's all thanks to the wonderful folks that
See her.
it's all thanks to the wonderful folks at BC Women's that she's home here and that she's thriving. And we can't wait to visit because Goldie had a lot of fans there, and I'm sure they're going to be excited to see her doing so well. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Everything you ever dreamed.